You know, you see tightening of some kind of stranglehold when you go for the BJP. I cover the BJP, the ruling party. So you ask them questions, they are getting very defensive and offensive also. So you know, I don't see this as an isolated incident. I think it's a part of a pattern to you know, to book students you know, in sedition laws, to attack journalists in courts. This is basically as a warning to all of us that your freedoms are not unlimited. I'm not saying freedoms should be unlimited, but who decides that? Yeah, you know. So this I see as part of a pattern, and that's why I'm here. You know,
this is also first time where your right to report has been questioned, because all these journalists were doing, they were just reporting on what was happening. Have you experienced that sort of a
well, I wouldn't say that the right to report has never been questioned. I mean, we all of us self-censor. I mean, media is you know, but I'm not going into those issues of everyday reporting. Here, there is a specific situation where you know, if you report on the JNU incident, you know, this whole discourse about being anti-national is very disturbing for all of us, because you know, they behave as if if we don't question what they're doing, then we are against them. And you know, this is against the country, against them. They are the country and we are the anti-national. I mean, this kind of discourse is highly objectionable, you know. As a journalist, I see this as a very undemocratic approach of the government. When you go around booking students, booking artists, booking, you know, somebody holds a... I mean, why can't we discuss Afzal Guru's hanging? You know, it's an issue. Why can't the Supreme Court judgment be discussed in a democratic situation? You know, and who is anybody to tell? Who's anyone to tell me I'm anti-national? You know, so I think.
But at the same time, you've had TV channels also saying that this is an anti-national activity. You've had people, you know, on various channels.
Well, fine, let them. They also have a right to. I mean, I'm not saying that people should not hold a view that hanging Afzal was a good thing and it should have been done. And there are positions on both sides. What I'm questioning is the right to not hold that opinion. I don't have that opinion. I don't sort of question the right for those television channels to hold the opinion that all right, Afzal Guru's hanging was fine and you should not be discussing it, so long as it's just an opinion that is being aired. They have the right to do it. But similarly, I also have the right to say that it was not the right thing. It should have been probed deeper. There are several aspects to it. Kashmir is a different issue which has nuances which can't be discussed in very narrow paradigm of nationalism and anti-nationalism. You know, so every issue cannot be perceived as an anti-India or pro-India issue. I mean, it's that these are issues that are discussed in a democracy by everyone, by the media, by students, by lawyers, by everyone. What is it that, you know, you can't even report on something? Journalists who go and try and report on a student who's booked under sedition, they get attacked. I mean, what is this kind of discourse that is being enforced by the ruling establishment, you know? And we as journalists, we have to sort of protect these freedoms, and I think it's a very good beginning. There should be more discussions, like you're saying. If television channels are some of the television channels are saying that you know, people should not have been these students have done something which is seditious, I think they should also be called for a discussion. We should have discussions on both sides. What is the problem? You know, why is it wrong to do it in a democracy? That is my question. You know, so I see it as a part of a pattern. When I go for press conferences these days, simple issue like Ishrat Jahan was an LET terrorist. Now, what is the government trying to do? I'm trying to understand. So if a minister is saying Ishrat Jahan was a terrorist, it was a Congress conspiracy, there are two things that they're doing. They are negating whatever the court investigated teams did. There was a Metropolitan Magistrate report on Ishrat Jahan. It was a fake encounter. It was not said by the Congress or anyone. It was said by court-appointed inquiries. And so if you ask the minister, they start to get fulminate, and they start to say that you're also siding with the same kind of position. No, you can't hold me guilty of anti-nationalism and so on just because I'm asking you a question.
Is that something specific of the BJP? Every time you question them, they sort of want to label you quickly and say
BJP has these inherent anti-democratic tendencies, but I think there is also an institutional subculture that has sought to be changed under Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi's regime in the last 2-3 years. BJP had a certain view, but under Mr. Advani and Mr. Vajpayee and Yoshi and so on, they were a friendly lot. You know, it's almost as if they were trying to compensate. I mean, it's my feeling as a journalist that they were trying to compensate for the ideological warts by this very, very personal, very welcoming, very warm equation with everyone. You know, they were fairly
to the UPA with Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and Manmohan. What was their communications with the press?
Well, you know, they were Congress. You could have individual ministers who could behave in a very abrasive, offensive fashion. But Congress as a whole, I didn't see this kind of labeling of people. You know, it was different. I mean, we did criticize Manmohan Singh for the last 4 years of his term. He was labeled Moni Baba. I mean, there was so much of media onslaught. There was Anna Hazare movement. We were not labeled anti-nationals by the Congress. That is not to say that I'm a Congress supporter. I think there is an institutional sort of subculture within the Congress.
What about the vindictiveness to Khemka? To Ashok Khemka, what they did when he brought out...
Well, I'm not saying Congress is a democratic party, but so far as freedom of expression goes, their attitude was certainly different. I would make that distinction between the Congress and the BJP of Mr. Narendra Modi. You know, I think BJP has also undergone a change.
Do you think Narendra Modi had a direct communication with Rajnath Singh on Rajnath's actions? After Rajnath Singh was quoted as having used a photoshopped tweet as evidence of...
You see, I'm not personally aware of whether he spoke to him or not, but he is the Home Minister of the country. He takes a certain position. That is the position I would perceive as being the government's position. And my fear actually is about the national security here, is that we are facing serious threats. I mean, after all, Mumbai did happen. What is the level of intelligence that the Home Minister is getting? You know, what sort of intelligence agencies are these who are giving these kind of inputs, and what sort of perception does the Home Minister have that if you get a serious input like this, supposing, let's presume that that input was correct and the Hafiz Saeed was spreading his tentacles within the campuses and so on, what does the Home Minister do? He goes and speaks to the media. He uses this as a political point to settle scores with the opposition, with the students. I think it's very, very frightening to have this level of retardation in the Home Ministry. That's all I can say. You know.
Thank you very much.